Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now, Frank Warren has confirmed that Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 must happen this year, and it will do. Tyson Fury wants to fight this year against Deontay Wilder in a third fight. If it is not Deontay Wilder, then he still wants another fight. Now, Tyson Fury has always been an active fighter, so he doesn't want any periods of inactivity, and the money isn't going to bother Tyson Fury. He's earned a lot of money, and it's not just about that. Tyson Fury is a fighter, so he wants to fight. So it will be Deontay Wilder in December. If Deontay Wilder does not want it, then it will be Dillian Whyte. Now, I don't believe that Deontay Wilder is going to step aside, so I'm guessing it's going to be Deontay Wilder. But I don't know how they will work it, considering there might not be a live crowd there. There could be, and hopefully there is. But if there is not, then obviously there is going to be less money in the pot for both fighters. Tyson Fury might be okay with that. Deontay Wilder might not be. And I don't know if it will just be about the money for Deontay Wilder. He might say that, no, I'm not doing it because the money's not right, because there is no live gate. Meaning, not necessarily he gets more money. He will if he waits for a live gate. But ultimately what he gets then is more time. That's what he needs. Deontay Wilder needs to learn how to box, essentially. I mean, he's like, what is he, 35, 34, 35? And he doesn't really know how to box. He's a good fighter. He lands one big punch. That gets him out of jail. But ultimately, he cannot box. Not to the level of Tyson Fury. Not to the level of many fighters he steps in with. But he has one big trick, and it does get him out of jail. It didn't, though, against Tyson Fury in both of their fights. So Deontay Wilder needs to learn his craft a lot better. Can he do it in the time he has? Not by December. Can he do it by, say, February? No, I don't believe he can. He needs more time. He needs like years to dedicate himself to learning how to box properly. Can he do that? Well, yes, he can. It is possible. But I also believe that Deontay Wilder has gotten himself into some very bad habits, and it's quite difficult to get yourself out of those habits, especially when the training team probably are kind of responsible for that as well. I mean, Jay Diaz, I don't believe is a good enough trainer to teach Deontay Wilder what he needs to learn, because Deontay Wilder was very predictable from very early on. As soon as Tyson Fury started pushing him back, as soon as he started becoming uncomfortable, he was backing up in straight lines. He was jabbing, moving to the left, wasn't changing height, wasn't changing direction, just jab, move to the left. Sometimes wasn't even jabbing, just moving back in straight lines, and Tyson Fury was just closing the distance, fighting on the inside, something Deontay Wilder cannot do. Deontay Wilder cannot box off the back foot. Tyson Fury made him do things that he did not want to do, and Deontay Wilder has never been in those positions before, in a position he cannot control, in a position he does not want to be in. And ultimately, he paid the price for that because he could not control what he was doing in the ring. Tyson Fury was controlling what he was doing. He was also controlling what Deontay Wilder was doing. So that is how Tyson Fury beat Wilder in their second fight. He also beat him in the first fight. Let's be real. Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder in the first one. Let's have it right. But Tyson Fury got a rough decision, so he went for the knockout in the second one. So that's two different ways in which Tyson Fury can beat Deontay Wilder. Have we seen any way that Wilder can beat Tyson Fury? Well, that right hand, but did it work? No, it did not. He did catch Tyson Fury in their second fight, but Tyson Fury was always ready for it. He always saw it coming. So he was able to escape, he moved off to the side, and what he done as well was position himself so he moves away in the direction, meaning that Tyson Fury is out of range. Deontay Wilder is reaching over his body to throw that shot, taking all of the power away, because what Deontay Wilder needed Tyson Fury to do was to be stood there in front of him. But what Tyson Fury did do was he was just to the left of Deontay Wilder's left foot, which is his lead foot, because obviously he's an orthodox, meaning that if he's at that point, then as I said, Deontay Wilder is reaching over his own body to throw that punch, meaning the power is taken out of it because Deontay Wilder is off balance. Tyson Fury explained that what was very important going into this fight and going on the front foot, taking center ring, pushing Deontay Wilder back, was his balance, something that Deontay Wilder also needed to adjust, but he didn't. Tyson Fury is a very skilled back foot fighter. So his balance is different. If you think about it, he stands tall and keeps his weight on his back foot. So when the shots come, he rides them, he rolls under them. And that is why Tyson Fury is so elusive, because he is so good with his balance on the back foot. Whereas with Deontay Wilder in the second fight, he was going forward. So his balance changes, because then still he does want his weight on his back foot, not on his front foot, because that is terrible, because you get no power into your shots, and if you get caught, you are in big trouble. A good example of that is David Haye versus Tony Bellew 2. David Haye had all of his weight on his front foot, meaning that every shot he got caught with caused a big effect, and most of his punches that landed would not have had the same kind of power as if his weight was on his back foot and he distributed that to his front foot when throwing the punches. But obviously, where the weight is still on the back foot, whether you are going forward or backwards, what Tyson Fury needs to do in the second one when he is going forward is he needs to distribute his weight from his back foot to his front foot. Ultimately, the balance is different, because Deontay Wilder was in the first fight the one pressing the action. Tyson Fury was going backwards and allowing him to control the tempo. He was moving out of the way of shots, bobbing and weaving, coming under them, landing counters when he could, sometimes off of the ropes as well. Whereas in the second fight, it was Tyson Fury who was the one who was pressing the action and pushing Deontay Wilder back, meaning that Deontay Wilder's balance changes as well, because Deontay Wilder does not box well off the back foot. Ben Davison did say, Tyson Fury's previous trainer, that Deontay Wilder gets most of his knockouts on the back foot. He can box well on the back foot. I do disagree with that. I think that Deontay Wilder steps back into the space, allows his opponent to walk forward. When they do that, he shoots. So they are walking on to that right hand. That's not boxing off the back foot. And that was proven in the second fight with Tyson Fury. His balance wasn't there going on the back foot, whereas Tyson Fury was constantly working on that. He was constantly working on his balance going forward, whereas Deontay Wilder was probably also working on his balance going forward, but he didn't go forward. He was being pushed back constantly. So Tyson Fury was prepared for what he wanted to do. He was prepared to execute his own game plan. Deontay Wilder was not allowed to execute his game plan. He was in a world of trouble from that first round. So that is why if Deontay Wilder does not prepare differently, then the same thing will happen as on February 22nd. He will get stopped because Deontay Wilder needs to change a lot of things. I think that considering what we know about Deontay Wilder, the best thing he can do is just shoot from the hip. Try and land that right hand, because he's not outboxing Tyson Fury. He's not out fighting him on the inside, and Tyson Fury is going to close him down. So what he must do is land that right hand early and land it often, because it's going to take a lot to move Tyson Fury. Anyway, Frank Warren has explained that that fight, Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3, must happen in December. That's what Tyson Fury wants. That is what Frank Warren wants. Now, Bob Arum did explain that he wants to push it back to February 2021 because live crowds, more money, all of that. But that is not what the fighter wants. Let's listen to the fighters. They're the ones getting in there. So Tyson Fury should be fighting Deontay Wilder this year. That means also that Dillian Whyte gets his opportunity when he should. Dillian Whyte is not going to wait and watch Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 3 in February 2021 when he should be getting his opportunity. That cannot happen. Maybe that is what Bob Arum is doing here, trying to push out Dillian Whyte, even though Dillian Whyte is the one who should be getting his opportunity early next year, because what Bob Arum wants is Tyson Fury to fight Deontay Wilder, then Anthony Joshua, and eliminate Dillian Whyte completely from the picture. That is not happening. And Tyson Fury has explained he wants to fight this year in December. Frank Warren wants him to as well. So hopefully that fight will happen on December 19th, like it was planned, and like the WBC have asked them to do it by, because they want to give Dillian Whyte the opportunity. They've already said Dillian Whyte will get his opportunity early stages of next year. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.